Wade, you are live, buddy.
Perfect. Okay, guys, I'm telling you, you only got like 50 or 100 people probably watching this thing right now, and there's probably about 3,000 to 5,000 more that need to, because this is going to be, you're going to be the first to hear about this. We're rolling out a new line of credit product, and it's going to be it's already rolled out. You just didn't know it, and I'm going to go over it with you guys right now. So let me share my screen. And first of all, before I even do that, I hope you guys really can appreciate what David's done and how this partnership between Bank Breezy and David Allen Capital has been so incredibly good for both of us. It's 100% online application process, and we're providing your clients the #1 needed tool to make their business successful, and that's working capital. Today, we're going to be talking about another tool, which is working capital to some sort, but it's really a line of credit that we're going to be talking about. Good thing about us, every time we get a commission and something's funded, you get paid, and you get paid the very next day. All you got to do is get the word out. You got to talk to people. This today, I'm really hoping inspires you on what we're doing. And just so you know, clients are coming back 4 to 6 times. I got one client right here that got another 75,000 yesterday afternoon. It's their 7th or either 8th renewal. I mean, it's crazy what people are coming back for. And the good thing about it is you would worry about chronic renewals unless they're using the money to really grow their business. And this company yesterday that took another 75,000 is exploding their business, and they're using us. It's more expensive, but they can do it quickly and make their business grow at a much faster rate. Guys, we got a brand new line of credit program that we're releasing right to you guys live today. It's a new preferred client program, and let me tell you what it involves. First of all, let me tell you what the minimum requirements on this are. #1, their credit limit is that we're going to offer is anywhere from 6,000 to 100,000. So that's not really new. What's going to be new to you guys is going to be the way they get paid, the way they can pay it back is either weekly or monthly. If they are in the sweet spot that we're going to talk about in a minute, they can get monthly payments. Otherwise, it'll be weekly. I got some examples of how that works. But again, the credit limit is going to be 6,000 to 100,000. 200,000 annual gross revenue is the bare minimums. Time in business for at least 1 year. Terms are going to be 12, 18, and 24 months. And I'm going to explain all that to you in just a few minutes. And again, the payment type is going to be weekly or monthly. And we're going to decide that whether or not they're in the sweet spot or not. So whether they can get the weekly or the monthly. There's a $20 a month fee always on this particular line of credit. But we got a real sweet spot here. If they can fall inside of this sweet spot, then we can most likely get them to monthly. And that sweet spot is $250,000 in annual revenue, not monthly. That's a little over $21,000 in monthly average. They got to be in business for 2 years to be in that sweet spot and have a 675 FICO, which is less than what most of these lines of credits are 700 and higher. But that doesn't mean they can't qualify if they got a 625. They won't be in the sweet spot, so they may not get, well, they definitely won't get the monthly, but they have an opportunity to get all the way down to 6,000 line of credit. Now, you can't hardly read this, but I'm just going to go over it with you. There's a calculator here that I get on each one of them. Here's an example that you guys can look at with me of a 24-month program that's on weekly, and they drew out $10,000. Well, what is it going to cost them? Well, what happens on this is you have that $10,000, and then you take 24 months. and just to pay back the principal, you take the 10,000 divided by 24, and that's what the monthly, or weekly cost for the client, for them to be able to pay back just the principal. But they're going to also be paying back the interest part of it, and they do call this interest on these lines of credit. And the cost of funds on this, for an example, is a 0.96% weekly. So they're paying, if you multiply 0.96 times 4, they're going to be paying anywhere from 3.8 to 4.5% monthly of the unpaid balance. So in this case, month one, they're going to be paying for the interest side of it, $96.17 for that week to have 10,000 on the street, and $56 for principal. So the total weekly payback is $152. And but it stays very much the same. In other words, on that 10,000, they amortize it over 2 years on this example, and you're paying $152 every single week. If you don't draw any more money out and you just want to make the bare minimum payments. And if you look at that, as they're making those payments, the amount each week of interest is going down, and more of it's going toward the cost, the actual to pay back the actual loan that they're doing on that draw. So when you look at these lines of credit here, and I'm going to go back here, when you look at these lines of credit, you're going to see that let's say they get 50,000 to 100,000. That means they're really in the sweet spot. That means they got a 675 FICO. Don't send someone in with a 500 and some FICO. They're not going to get it. Don't promise anybody anything. But with these, I can often get them, many times get them funding and a line of credit as well. But the lines of credit are not totally cheap. If they can go to a bank, they really should go to a bank and get it. But I've been reading all over the news about all these and I won't mention all the banks. You go Google it and look it up. They're pulling all the lines of credit. They've been doing it for over a year and a half, but they're really pulling them now. And I'm really shocked that my wife and I still have our line at the bank personally. But they've got all these lines of credit that they're just taking away gradually or all at one time for businesses. I hear it every day. Again, this is for preferred clients that really fall in the sweet spot of 675. 675 and above. But if it's 625, they're not going to get as good of terms. They probably only get the 12-month deal, but you can get anywhere from 12 months to 2 years, and you can and it can be 12, 18, 24 months, and the paybacks are going to be weekly unless they fall in the sweet spot, and then it will be monthly. Here are the industries that are excluded. Please tell your organization about these, because I've got 6 calls this week from new agents that are excited that don't know anything about what they're talking about. And I mean, they have done very little research and time spent looking up, the information about what can and can't get funded. These are the industries that will not qualify. Construction, and that's all construction classes that are out there. They're not going to fund construction. Transportation and warehousing, that's all trucking and transportation companies. This is for, again, the new preferred client line of credit. Wholesale, import, export, none of that's going to get a line of credit. Accommodation, that's hotels, that sort of thing. Food services, including restaurants, are not going to get it. Real estate, rentals and leasing, all real estate. Nobody's going to get it in real estate. Mining, oil and gas, they're not going to get it. And administrative support for like waste management, remediation services, that kind of thing, they're just not going to get it. So these are the ones that 100% are not going to get an offer. Now, who are the people you want to be talking to? Man, anything in retail. I mean, just go through retail, and any kind of retail, we want all of them. That right there alone is a massive number of people. Anything in healthcare, especially, I'm telling you, healthcare is going to be the sweet spot. Marinas, repair shops, e-commerce, metal and fabrication, the same old ones that we want: insurance, accounting, architects, education, dance studios, gyms, nail and hair salons. If they got good credit, we want them. Employment and medical staffing companies, medical equipment sales, bicycle shops, pharmacies, IT and computer service, water purification, massage therapists, private schools and colleges, and carpet companies. This is just a few. I've given you ones who don't qualify, but these are just a few. So, David, I went through this very quickly, but I'm really willing to take some calls on this if you have any, and I'll just keep this.
Yeah, I think this is perfect. Can you hear me okay, Wade?
I can.
Beautiful. I just wanted to make one comment to everybody, especially the brand new folks. Bonus revenue is reduced on line of credits, as you all know. So don't think you're always going to earn 40, 60, 70, or 80% of bonus revenue. But this is an amazing program. I talked to a doctor just a week and a half ago who was approved for this. And 2-year amortization to repay it, which makes your monthly or your weekly payment much lower. And he only needed it for 15 or 20 days. So he's like, it's nice to know that I can have an amortized payment for 2 years, but if I want to pay it off after 15 days, I only pay for 15 days of interest. And I pay off a balance and it's done. Where with our revenue-based capital, keep in mind, guys, if you get 100 grand a day, you're paying and you agree to pay back 140 over a year, let's say, or even over 2 years. If you pay it back after a month, you're going to pay near 140 back. You don't get it, you'll get a discount, but they don't take it all off. So line of credit is perfect for people who only need the money for a short window of time, less than 60 days. Line of credit is great for them. Or we have people who've taken line of credit draws 20, 30 times since they got approved with us 2 years ago. So they take money, pay it off, take money, pay it off. But it's like it's how they, just like they treat a credit card. And the interest is so small for a week or two that it's minuscule. They don't even consider it. It's better than the terms they're getting from their inventory suppliers and stuff to pay cash. So great product. Just keep in mind, bonus revenue is reduced. It depends on the plan, but these are generally about 30% of what we usually pay. So if you have $100,000 funding and bonus revenue is usually 10 grand, this should usually be 3 to 4 grand bonus revenue. So just know that going in, it's reduced, but hey, it's residual because people use these things over and over and over again. And every 600 bonus revenue is a qualifying engaged client. So congratulations, Wade, on this preferred client. I know Tyler's putting together a preferred client overview sheet to put in our back office. But this video, you just covered it all. Great stuff. Appreciate it. I have nothing else.
Yeah, and again, I think you said it all when you were talking about they use it. That's the thing about lines of credit. They use it over and over and over and over. I can't tell you how many times on the other lines of credit that we've had where, someone would take 25,000, someone would take 50,000, 10,000. They do it, like every couple months. That is true residual income that you can expect. It doesn't matter if you, it's better to make less commission anyway and get paid over and over and over and over and over that same amount of commission versus a one-time hit for a funding. So it's exciting. All right, Morgan, do we have any hands up?
We do have one hand up. It is V. Wright. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, am I heard?
You are.
Good morning, Wade. Good morning, everyone else. Thanks for that. Question, Wade, and that first example you gave of the client who's in the sweet spot, you said taking $10,000 out of the line of credit and using it for 2 years and paying like $152 a week. Is that $152 principal and interest?
Yes, it is. And I broke it down. $96. It's a point. It was a point. Well, let me just show you right here. It was a 0.96%, less than 1%. That's what you're going to pay every week for the cost of funds. So that weekly payment showed that on 10,000, that was $96 worth of interest you were paying, but you're still paying back. And so that's what comes out of the 152, and it's 60 some dollars or whatever that number is 50 some dollars that goes toward the principal. But that's as if you just took 10,000 and you never, all you did is pay the bare minimums for a 2-year period. The reality is that just doesn't happen. People pay these things off, and then they could take the entire 100,000, let's say, and pay it off in 4 weeks, and then now they got 100,000 in available line of credit, and there's no cost per week. That 152 goes away.
Thank you. I mean, I think it's a good deal.
It's a great deal.
Thanks for sharing it. Yeah.
It's something they're not going to be able to get their hands on anywhere pretty soon. Anybody else? So we got any hands raised or questions, Morgan, in the chat?
No, it looks like that. Oh, we just had Matt raise his hand. So Matt Duhane, you can close this out. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, Wade. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Ben.
So existing clients with a balance, like several clients we have that are in the sweet spot, let's just say retail, restaurants that have a balance. This is 2 questions. First of all, can they piggyback onto a loan, or they have to be paid off to get one of these?
Here's the great thing about it. They don't care. They'll leave 1 or 2 positions in place. They don't care about that. This is the line of credit only, so that's not going to matter.
Good. Okay. In a second. Well,
but they're going to have to be. When you got all these lines of credit now, they're just going to have that north of 625. They can't be in these crazy restricted areas as far as the types of businesses we're not going to fund. But yeah, they can apply, but they only apply just for the line of credit.
Okay, great. And the second question: will you be, after getting the initial package and doing the soft pull, looking at the industry? And he's in the sweet, he or she, the business owner's in the sweet spot. Will we get them a funding offer in addition, where we also offer them a line of credit as well as the funding offer?
It depends. It depends on how they apply. I mean, I almost let me change that. When people apply for lines of credit only, then if they don't get a line of credit, we email them and let them know that we're going to get, we're no longer, because of this program here, and they already have a couple positions and they're looking for a line of credit. We've always in the past tried to get either or, and you know what? I'll let David kind of run with this, but I think probably we ought to just keep it like it is, where we try to get them both no matter what they apply for. And I think I just answered my own question.
I guess
we'll try to get them both.
Yeah, it's just give them more options. More options is always better, and the fact that you could use that as like, well, we couldn't do that, but we did this anyway because I know you need the funds, and I always revert back to why they need the funds or access to funds, right? Being that's what we're providing is a tool. Right. Anyway, it's great to see you.
By the way, Matt, I really enjoyed spending time. Joyce did as well with you and Nick last week. It was very exciting for me to listen to you guys making calls. I mean, I was sitting here doing my work, but we got a really large office space here, and then on the other end of it, y'all were over there talking to clients, and you were literally talking to clients that you had met on the way down here, which I told David that was really impressive. And you actually made appointments with them and got not appointments, but you actually got them to send in their paperwork and everything. So I just want everybody to know that everything you talk about that you guys claim you do, I've seen it in action. You do, and I really appreciated that.
Sure. Well, I just wanted you to get a sample in person. I mean, it's not that hard. I guess I'm not telling you, but I just wanted you to show how, for you to just see firsthand, how smooth it is if you get that relationship thing. And I think you said something to me about like, yeah, you sound like you've known them for 5 years. I mean, you quickly try to develop that relationship by coming across like you're genuinely interested, and you are. So if you truly believe in it, it's going to come across like, oh yeah, okay, I want to deal with this person because they're not trying to sell me, but they're sensitive to the need that I have or may have, and they want to be the one, and responsibly. I want to be the responsible one and not come across, that weirdo factor like, hey, you need this, I'm your guy. Just calmly letting them instill confidence in you that you're going to be able to do the job quickly, timely, because product knowledge, goes along. And I'll just shut up real quick because it's storming through my mind right now. This is the difference. The difference maker is that they have confidence in you because they believe that you, in fact, do have the solution and you can execute when it's important. So, I'll be ready. So I always throw that in, folks. Guys, just keep it in mind when you're talking to them. Say, if or when you need funding, and we will go to we'll get the best option and come back and have these people competing. And there's your competitive advantage because nobody can beat us. But anyway, it was great seeing you and Joyce as well, Wade. It was fantastic. Nick and I said that was a critically important trip that we made. It's very important for all of us.
Amen.
Hey, can I add one thing, Wade, based on the conversation you and I had this morning with one of my personal clients? This is just something we all can take when Matt's talking about belief, and I think this is beautiful. I've got a personal client who happens to own a business in Florida, and he's shut down because of the hurricane. In fact, he's on an island that he can't even go on right now. And so, what happened is he was able to reach out to the funding provider and inform them of the situation. And he's done this in the past in the last hurricane, and they actually reduced the payments or paused the payments in the past. He can't do that with his mortgage. He can't do that with his car payment. He can't do that with his credit card payment. No one else is willing to do that. But isn't it amazing that our revenue-based funding capital providers, as long as a client has got good intentions and is not trying to game a system and there's a legitimate issue going on with their business, I've never seen the providers not create an amicable, plausible way for the client to keep making payments or even pause payments because they're going through a unique situation. So, Wade, can you just touch on that quick? Have you ever seen a time where they've said no?
No, not one time. As a matter of fact, let me go one step further. There have been incredible situations where people just won't communicate and they just stop paying because something happened. They just didn't communicate, and it just happened this past week with one of our providers. And they called me and said, "Man, we don't want to put the hammer down on this guy. I mean, been a good payer, but all of a sudden they missed 2.5, almost 3 weeks of payments." And so I got them on the telephone with me. I said, "What are you doing? Communication is everything. You got to talk to these people." And they said, "Well, I was scared too because I just can't have them pulling." They went and dropped that guy to from $50. $100 a day to $50 a day, and then he said, "Well, that may not work." So what they did is said, "We won't even start the $50 for a month." They don't want to put a business in a worse position than they were before they met us. So it happens over and over and over and over. And by the way, just so you know, if you're in the path of that hurricane in Florida, Georgia, and parts of the lower part of South Carolina, but mainly Florida and Georgia, they will put a pause on funding in that area because they realize that you're not going to be operating right now. So a week or two when this goes away and they need funding, and we can look at their bank statements and see that was the only reason there was a problem, we can help them. So that's another thing, David, that there's just no way you can have that kind of relationship with lenders. I can tell you, I can name you 10 lenders right now that fund a lot of business that wouldn't even take your call. They're going to say, "I don't care what your problem is, you need to pay us." And we just don't communicate, do that we just don't deal with those people. So I think that is pretty much it. I don't see that we have anybody else. I'll stop the sharing, and I really appreciate everybody being here. I hope this got you excited, and we should see the results with applications. Y'all have a blessed holiday weekend. Be safe.